Hey Battle Buddies and Healthy Heroes, my name is Susie. I'm just an enthusiastic nerd bringing you LARP and fitness content. Today we have a compilation from the entire 2022 season of Alliance LARP New Hampshire. This is the best of Scout Circles. The idea is all about positioning. You can sweep around to get behind an enemy, and if you are working with another person, you can get this sort of circle or tornado, some even call it a blender, where the monster's in the middle, and then someone is always getting that advantageous shot from the back of the monster. People with Scout or Rogue stat cards often swing way stronger damage from behind. I think within the umbrella term of this Scout Circle positioning work, you also have what is known as a pillow party, which is when a bunch of PCs are working together surrounding one single monster. We definitely have some footage of that happening from this past year as well. Please enjoy the best of Cinderfel's 2022 season, Scout Circling. So we only have one scout sweep moment against the Kikari from this year. There's a line of us fighting Dustin. I begin to sweep around to my left, and when Dorn closes in, Dustin gives chase. Thank you, I love to chase. Now we'll fight some Ooze minions. Jeremy is playing a very big one here in the chainmail shirt there, squaring off on Riddick and Bry. I come in directly and quickly because I don't think I have a surprise on him. I was already looking right at him, but all I gotta do is sprint around to his back, and then we have that beautiful circle. A lot of lateral motion. Keep him in that vulnerable position. And now Jeremy's back again. He's already in a pretty tricky position. This is what I would call a pillow party. But I think that falls under the umbrella term of a scout sweep, because when a ton of PCs are circling around an enemy, all you need is one little lunge in as a scout on the outer position like Azareth is to get your stronger attacks on his back. He's twisting around to all the people who are around him, and you just gotta lunge in there and take your shots. So now Azareth the Elf is front and center on this path, and in comes Brian NPCing this ooze. Brian squares up with him, and I start making my sweep. As soon as I get those back attacks in with the stronger damage, he drops really quickly. Azareth keeps his position in the front there, and honestly, that was a rogue sneak, but it was so smooth. Well done, Brian. Now here we see the NPCs get some good positioning work in. Avalon is being chased by Matt there. He directs her right into Jeremy. I believe she prisons herself there wisely to protect herself, and Jeremy is left within the circle of Vry and Azareth. From one scout circle to another. And now we see Matt coming in at the bottom of the screen, engaging with Khabibulin and Tam. But look at Riddick and an enemy in the back there. They both begin a sweep. They were both looking at Matt as he came in. An enemy kept her sweep in tight and functioned in that scout circle with Khabibulin, whereas Riddick went around way long and got a sneak in and dropped Matt with a rogue move there. Now watch Ryan for this fight. We were bottlenecked there trying to enter the new area. He's really pinned against the tavern, but one strike at a time, he is slowly fighting his way against Brian and positioning himself in the back of the line to break out of that line fight situation. As the PCs enter, the NPCs blocked the bottleneck. Ryan really used the tavern and push into the back line until he could get around the back of Brian, the back of Matt, and then really open up the field for the PCs to flow in. It's time to battle some elementals. Look in the background there where Seth, the stone elemental in black, finds himself in a pillow party. Rade and Ryan running quickly, and that's a perfect circle around him, and he drops. Good job, scouts. We are moving on to the Fey monsters. The first place we find these enchanted beasts is in a garden. Brian with the big red claw there is a root erupting from the ground on a 3 count. And as he does this, all of the PCs circle around him for that beautiful positioning pillow party again. Now I love a good pillow party when the monster is slow and threatening. That 2-handed weapon is so long, and he is swinging massive, which cannot be blocked. So these scouts, these PCs, have to work really hard to lunge in and lunge out to avoid his blows entirely. And they have to work as a team, take their turns, circle around him until they finally cut him down. Now watch on the right there, I am squaring up against Brandy the plant monster, but Kabibulin comes in fast and kites her so far away really well, draws her into an open area, giving me a perfect chance to sprint in and get a little circle going. Now Brandy's coming in again, creeping in from the tree line, and I notice Azareth is refitting, so I do a little defensive positioning here, trying to hold her focus and gradually sweep over to the right. As soon as he's up from his refit, he takes that open space and circles around. Here, Brian is playing another massive root erupting from the ground, so I sprint in to try to start that scout circle with Kabibulin, but another plant monster sneaks up behind Kabibulin and pins him. It's getting kind of hairy, but Azareth runs in to get the attention of the root, and they begin this pillow party positioning around that root, while in the background, Kabibulin is stuck with the pin, and Quincy and I are circling around the plant monster who has Kabibulin pinned. Once that plant monster drops, Kabibulin will be freed. And everyone else just keeps circling around that giant root, lunging in and lunging out, and just need to keep pillow partying and get him dropped. Some really great teamwork here with two of our newer players. Erkund and Anemone are taking on Brandy, and Anemone jumps behind her using that tree to get into a great position. Now, a plant monster Brian is playing with the big two-handed claw there. Anemone and Erkund need to make a wider circle to avoid his massive swings and get good positioning. And credit to Avalon here for making a really good escape. Sometimes your positioning is all about that defensiveness, so way to make that evasive circle. Speaking of a good chase, let's head over to this enchanted library and see what we can do amongst these trees. Now, Kabibulin and I had begun circling around Dustin, but he ran away. So we had an excellent little sprinty moment to cut him down, and then squared off against Kate. Now, Kate and Frank are coming in as Fey books, while Kabibulin and Joshua close in, and Azareth here makes the excellent positioning work, a little lateral motion, jump through the trees, position himself behind those books, turn the line fight into a circle fight. Well done. Now watch how Joshua and Quincy move in here. Joshua taking 1 or 2 steps just to lunge into position, and Quincy immediately capitalizing on it and getting that back. They came in as a line, and now it's a circle. So beautiful. Well done. Dustin playing that big amnesia monster again. I love the confidence with which Kabibulin just strides forward here. He separates himself from the pack enough that Dustin needs to turn significantly to face him, and Quincy just jumps on it. What a great way to capitalize as soon as that back appears. Dustin does some positioning to get out of the center of that circle, but Kabibulin still finishes him off. The last enchanted place we went to was this Fey Castle, this estate of sorts with a lot of hallways, limited mobility in these corridors, so to get the circle around him, you just gotta go for it. You gotta move fast, you gotta coordinate with somebody, and get in there and get behind him before he can swing too much on you. And if you do get hit when you're moving that close to someone, that's what the dodge is for. These hallway fights really do get clogged, so archers and other ranged attack is really wise, but as soon as you get one person dropped with just enough room for Joshua to step around, you can still get the beautiful circle position. So Kate is playing a big bad Fey monster in this final room here. We are at the edge of the hallway, and we push forward to circle around Frank to finish him off and enter this final room. Quincy opts to start with a range attack here, which gets Kate focused on him, and Kabibulin and Joshua start creeping around. Now, not only is Kate in this room, but there's also environmental hazards. Brian is in the background just throwing packets that we have to duck and move around. So we're slowly inching in, dodging the packets, and keeping ourselves really spread out so we have that room and mobility to dodge around those hazard packets that are flying. We keep trying to get the circle position around her, but Brandy spawned as a minion on the right, and Frank respawned on the left, so we are very limited. Even Dustin spawns from the back and comes in with ranged attacks. So at this point, it's definitely, we see this room is so exciting and perilous, it has to be a bit of a line fight. So we're stuck in this position for a little while, but as Kate's stats start to wear away, she gets a little bit weaker, her minions are dropped, she makes her final lunge in, Erkund gets around her back, and we have defeated that room. Phew! Couple cool circle moments around Frank now. Kabibulin and I are squared off with him. When you're fighting someone as poised and deadly as Kabibulin is, you really gotta focus on them. So if I just stay still for a second, I waited for my moment. Similarly in this one, Quincy and Kabibulin are squared off on him, and I'm hanging back like Drax, like I am imperceptible to the naked eye because I am so slow until I see my opening. And I run in. I actually overextend a little bit. Frank does not need to turn around to face me. I end up on his other side, but it was still enough to get the job done. We see Quincy and Azareth squared up on Frank, and here comes Cabby Boolin again. He's just gonna stand there. Don't pay any attention to him. Don't worry about him, Frank. He's just casually strolling. He's just quietly and gradually making his way behind. Quincy has some of the best intuition as to when to make his move, when to close the distance, when to swing more aggressively, and yep, they got the circle off. One more big room here with Kate as one of the giant Fey monsters and Frank as a very capable minion, but we have them outnumbered and there's more space in this room, so we do have an advantage. We are pushing forward, consistently applying the pressure. You know, we're not running in recklessly against the giant monster that Kate is, but we are continuing to bring this line forward. And Joshua, with the more space that he has, he knows he has an advantageous position. He does not need to pause or wait. He can just continue to apply that pressure using the angle he already has to put Kate where he wants her and then closes the beautiful circle. Yeah, Quincy got dropped by the big monster, but we got him back up, no worries. And lastly, one more little hallway for Quincy to demonstrate just how awesome he is. He waits for the exact moment where Brandy lunges with her right hand forward, which exposes her back more, and there he is, in perfect position. Once Brandy is dropped, the opening that he created lets me circle around to Dustin, and there you have it. Thanks for watching. Come join the battle at larpnh.com.